The ground is shaking, not from an earthquake, from feet. 250,000 feet, marching in unison across the flat plains of what is now northern Iraq. The air smells of dust and horse sweat and fear. You are a Persian soldier standing in the front line, and you cannot even see where your own army ends. It stretches to the horizon, left, right, behind you. An ocean of men, weapons, and war elephants. And somewhere across that plain, barely visible through the haze, is a force 1/10 your size. You almost feel sorry for them. You won't. This is the ancient history documentary of Gaugamela, the battle that ended the greatest empire the world had ever seen in a single afternoon. Today you'll discover exactly how Alexander the Great turned a 10-to-1 numbers disadvantage into the most perfectly executed military trap in history, explained by no textbook the way it actually happened. But here's what nobody talks about. Alexander almost didn't make it to the battlefield at all. The night before, he made a decision so strange that his own generals thought he'd lost his mind. We'll come back to that. It is October 1st, 331 BC. Alexander is 25 years old. 25. He has already conquered Egypt, crossed the Syrian desert, and dismantled the western half of the Persian Empire. And he has never lost a battle, not once. But he knows that Gaugamela is different. Every engagement before this was a skirmish compared to what's coming. He is brilliant, reckless, and quietly terrified. His men have been marching for 3 years. They are exhausted, far from home, and they know that if they lose today, there is no road back. Persia is not a border to cross. It is a world unto itself. Lose here, and they die here. Across the plain stands Darius III, King of Kings, ruler of an empire that stretches from Greece to India. He is 50 years old, and he has already fled from Alexander once, at the Battle of Issus 2 years earlier, an act of cowardice his own nobles have never forgiven. This time, he has chosen the ground himself. He had his men flatten the plain at Gaugamela for weeks, leveling every rock and divot, making it perfect terrain for his secret weapon. 200 scythed chariots, with blades mounted on the wheels, designed to tear through infantry like paper. He has planned for every possibility, except one. Dawn breaks over the plain. The Persian army is already in position. They've been standing there all night. Darius ordered them to hold their formation through the darkness, afraid Alexander might attack before sunrise. His soldiers are exhausted before the battle even begins. Alexander's camp, meanwhile, is silent. His second-in-command, Parmenion, bursts into Alexander's tent in the early hours and finds him asleep, deeply, calmly asleep. Parmenion shakes him awake, asks how he can possibly sleep before the most important battle of his life. Alexander looks up and says, "What is there to be anxious about? We have already won." Nobody knows if he believes it or if he's performing confidence for the men who need to see it, but history recorded those words. And they march. Now, the Macedonian line advances at an angle, not straight forward. At an angle, drifting deliberately to the right. Darius watches from his command position and immediately understands the danger. If Alexander's line drifts far enough right, it will move off the specially prepared ground, onto terrain the chariots can't operate on. Darius sends his left cavalry sweeping wide to cut them off. The trap is sprung, but whose trap is it? The Persian cavalry crashes into the Macedonian right flank. Dust explodes, men scream, and for 20 brutal minutes, it looks like the Persians are winning. But Alexander is not watching the cavalry fight. He is watching Darius. Here is what Darius cannot see from his position. By sending his cavalry to the right, he has created a gap in his own front line, a gap exactly wide enough for a cavalry charge. Alexander sees it the moment it opens. He moves, not the whole army, just him and his companion cavalry, the 2,000 finest horsemen in the ancient world. They form a wedge, a spearhead, and they drive directly toward that gap at full gallop. The ground shakes again, different this time. The Persians see them coming, and there is a moment, just a moment, where the line tries to close, too slow. The wedge hits the gap like a hammer through glass. Alexander is riding at the front. He always rides at the front. A 25-year-old king charging personally into 250,000 enemy soldiers. And here is what nobody tells you. He isn't charging at the Persian army. He is charging directly at Darius himself. The two men can see each other. 100 meters, 80, 50. Darius is on his chariot, and for a split second, eye contact, king to king, conqueror to king, Darius breaks. He turns his chariot and flees. The moment the Persian soldiers see their king running, something collapses. Not just the line, but something deeper. The will, the belief. An army of 250,000 men does not lose because it runs out of soldiers. It loses because it runs out of king. The battle does not end cleanly. While Alexander chases Darius into the dust, Parmenion sends a desperate messenger. The Persian cavalry has broken through the Macedonian left flank and is attacking the baggage train. Alexander has to make a choice: pursue Darius and finish this, or turn back and save his men. He turns back. Darius escapes. For now. He will be dead within the year, murdered by his own generals. The Persian Empire, the largest the ancient world had ever known, effectively ends on this plain in a single afternoon. Within weeks, Alexander walks into Babylon unopposed. Within months, he burns Persepolis, the Persian capital, to the ground. Now, here is the detail historians rarely mention. After the battle, Alexander visits the Persian wounded. He orders them treated alongside his own men. His surgeons work through the night on both sides. For a conqueror of the ancient world, this was almost unheard of. It is one reason his empire, however briefly, held together. The other thing nobody mentions: Gaugamela wasn't in Alexander's battle plan. The oblique advance, the gap, the cavalry wedge, all of it was improvised in real time. Alexander had studied Darius's formation the night before and adjusted on the fly. That night's study, that is the decision his generals thought was madness. He didn't sleep because he was fearless. He slept because he'd already done the work. Gaugamela did not just end an empire, it changed what human beings believe was possible. It proved that numbers do not decide battles. Preparation, speed, and the willingness to act in the one moment the enemy blinks, that decides battles. Every military commander for the next 2,000 years studied this afternoon. Napoleon studied it. Rommel studied it. Patton studied it. One gap, one charge, one afternoon. The ancient world was never the same. Remember that Persian soldier we met at the beginning? Standing in the front line, unable to see where his own army ended? By sunset, he was running. Not because he was a coward, but because the man behind him was running, and the man behind that man, and 100,000 men trying to move away from something they couldn't yet see clearly, but could feel. He survived. Most of the Persian soldiers did. Darius's empire did not. Here's the question I want you to think about and drop in the comments. If Alexander had caught Darius that day, if he hadn't turned back for Parmenion, do you think history looks different? Does Darius die a prisoner instead of a fugitive? Does that change anything? Tell me below. And if you want to understand the man who made this possible, who shaped Alexander before Gaugamela, before Issus, before any of it, the next video is already waiting for you. The story of Aristotle, Alexander's teacher, and the one lesson that never left him. See you there.